Hey, what's up everybody? Today we are diving into a behind the scenes of how this collaboration with Dr. Kirk Honda from Psychology in Seattle came about. Now, this was a super exciting opportunity for me. I just wanted to be able to share with you what the process was like working with him, how we got to the video idea that we got, and just some of the stuff that you might not have noticed that was going on behind the scenes as we filmed this video. Now, I do hope that what you got looked like a fairly polished product, but there's a lot of stuff that I had to fix and I wasn't super happy about the process, so stay tuned to hear some of those things. Before I dive into that, please do like and subscribe. That helps the channel to grow so that we can do more collabs like this. I'm super excited to be able to reach out like he talked about, reaching out to other mental health space YouTubers and content creators and being able to send out a good message through those collaborations. So thank you all for tuning in. Let's dive into some of the details behind the scenes. So this collaboration came about because one of you all, and I always say this, it matters so much the comments that you all make because I don't watch all of the mental health and therapy stuff on YouTube. And so somebody commented on one of my videos that I should collaborate with Dr. Kirk. And you know, I checked out his channel. He's at like 500,000 subscribers. I'm like close to 15,000 subscribers. So there's this huge disparity. And I was like, if I comment or email him, like there's no chance he's gonna wanna waste his time trying to collab with me. Like I don't bring a lot of value to that collaboration. Like he would be doing me a favor. That on top of, I assume he's got tons of emails to pour through, tons of messages to sort through and comment and respond. I thought it very unlikely that we would ever get any kind of communication off the ground, let alone putting together a video. And so I articulated some of that to that original commenter, and they said they would try to reach out because they had like a paid membership or a Patreon or something with him. So I guess that makes it more likely that he's gonna see and respond to their comment, which similarly, you can sign up to a membership for therapy today. That's 99 cents a month, same kind of deal. You'll get early access to a lot of my videos, as well as your particular comments will be flagged for me so that I can respond to those specifically and make sure they don't get lost in the shuffle. But all that being said, I went to his page, filled out the contact form like you just do with any other website, and sent it off and didn't think anything would happen. A couple of days later, I actually got a response from him. I wasn't really expecting that at all, but like I was freaking out when I saw it. It was like getting a response from a celebrity, and I don't know if he characterizes himself that way, but it was a really cool moment for me. And throughout the whole process, he was very encouraging, very open to collaboration, very open to the idea of us spending an hour together filming. It actually turned it into a couple of hours. And with all of that, he was very collaborative, very open to different ideas of how we might be able to work together, even though we're on different sides of the country, him in Seattle, me in Virginia. And so we just tossed some ideas back and forth. I will admit, I've talked about ChatGPT and AI before. I did go to ChatGPT for some video ideas because I was just stuck with this, like, I don't want to do this like boring conversation where we're talking about our opinions and there's not like some kind of central hook. And I wanted to make sure it was about topics that you all would be interested in. So I asked Chat what it would look like, what kinds of games or activities we could do that could incorporate some audience feedback as well as getting his particular ideas and viewpoints about therapy and mental health into the video without it being just a boring kind of interview format. And so it did come up with a few ideas. There was an idea of doing kind of like a Hot Ones video or something like Bean Boozled, where we would potentially have to eat something unpleasant if we refused to answer like a somewhat controversial or sensitive question. We could also do like a combined reaction video, but I think it turned out like the logistics of that would have been really difficult if we were trying to watch the video in real time. Both of us would probably pause at different times and have different things to comment about. That would just be really chaotic. Apparently there are tools that allow you to do that, but we just figured maybe not for the first time. And so what ended up happening was the collaboration that you saw, Hot Takes. So what we did is both of us solicited comments from you all in some kind of post where you could comment hot takes about mental health. And then what we decided was I would take the comments from my viewers and pose them to Dr. Kirk. And so the video that was posted on my channel was comments from you all who are part of my audience. And then the video that we did for his channel was comments from his participants, and then I was responding to those. So that was the format that we decided on. We booked a particular day, so it actually ended up being Halloween. We booked Halloween to film, and so this was later in the day for me because obviously he's on the West Coast. His time zone is a lot earlier. So this was closer to noon, 1 o'clock maybe for him. And I have kids and we were gonna go trick-or-treating later that day. So we had to like be on this. And so we set it up. So one of the things that I was trying to figure out was, okay, what platform can I use? So I usually use Riverside free subscription, but they have a lot of limitations on that after you use up the initial free stuff. I was considering doing like Google Meet or Zoom, and none of the qualities of those recordings really did it for me. I've done Zoom calls before. I've used other platforms for this kind of video, and I've never been super happy about the quality that comes up. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But so yeah, eventually I found Zencastr. I'd used it in the past, and they had initially removed their free plan for a while, but apparently it's back now. So we scheduled it out, October 31st, filming. And so we get to the day of recording. And so my setup when I'm doing these kinds of podcast interviews virtually is where I'll have the camera in front of me. So it's actually a webcam for the computer. So I've got this Razer Kaio webcam. So it's 1080 recording and it's got a ring light built into it. So I love that part about it. What I find difficult is that, okay, so you flip it up and that's how that works, and then it clips on. So I actually put it on a tripod, and what I didn't think through, and you'll see this in the video now that I've pointed it out, you can go back and take a look. So I had this on a tripod, and so it was at eye level with me, but what I forgot was that the screen, the actual computer where I was seeing and conversing with Dr. Kirk, was gonna be lower because the laptop just doesn't go that high. So what it looks like is I'm looking down a whole lot of the video while the camera is actually up here. So if I had a chance to go over that again, I would probably put the laptop on something so it was higher and it would look like I was making more eye contact with Dr. Kirk throughout the video instead of looking like I'm sleepy for half the video. So the Razer aside, what I also have is a DJI Pocket, which I would put on a separate angle. And this is the second angle that you see. It's a slightly different look of the video, and it just allows me to spice up the video a little bit, just a little bit of visual difference. And so one of the issues that I have with the Pocket is that it's going to be here at this angle, and there's a window right here, and the light changes throughout. And you'll see this in the video too if you go back and look, is that it starts out fairly light, and because of the time that we were filming, the sun had started to go down, clouds were starting to pull in, and so lighting changes throughout, especially on that second angle where it's kind of off to the side. So this is all stuff that I'm trying to work out visually, and of course I can't pay attention to that because I'm trying to have a conversation with the man. And of course one of the things, this has happened in so many of my videos that I do virtually, is that about 5 minutes into recording, I realized that I haven't actually pressed the record button on the DJI Pocket. So my second angle, you'll notice it doesn't kick in until about 5 minutes in. And if you look at that clip, you'll actually see me looking over, realizing it's not on, freaking out a little bit because we're already recording. I don't want to interrupt his flow. So I'm trying to look over and like find that record button and press it without being super obvious about it. But those were my headaches when it came to filming. So anytime you think that YouTubers have it together, maybe that's the reason I'm stuck at like 14, 15K subscribers anyway, but we don't have it all together. It is a hot mess while we're trying to do this stuff, and it's a lot when it's a one-man operation. But all that being said, so we had the hot takes, we pulled those in from our comments, and I will say that you all do have some great hot takes, but I don't think I was very clear with the format. I got so many essays about what their hot takes were, and I'm like, I'm just trying to distill it down to one sentence, and you're here writing a dissertation about society and then how that contributes to mental illness and how therapists ignore that, which is all well and good, but it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know how to make that one sentence for him to react to. But so we get filming, I finally have both cameras going, I'm looking like I'm not making eye contact, and I'll say this, Dr. Kirk is so accommodating. He's a great guy to record with. We had some great conversation pre-recording and post-recording, very generous with advice and just talking about how to find my niche and how to continue working at this even when sometimes things feel discouraging, and how he happened to get into this particular niche himself. So it was really encouraging. I appreciate his openness with a lot of the topics that we discussed. As you'll see in the video, if you go back to watch it, we did touch on some personal stuff for him, stuff that he was really personally affected by, and he was willing to talk through it and give his honest opinion on that, even though it was a difficult and emotional subject for him to work through. So yeah, for all of that, like, we probably got about 45 minutes of content each. So that was raw, unedited stuff. And then I don't know how long he edited his video down to. If it's not out yet, I'm gonna check it out when it comes out. At the time of the filming, the videos are not out yet, so I don't know what he's cut it down to. But we both got about 45 minutes of uncut content. And so we had originally budgeted 1 hour for filming, like I said. So we each did about 45 minutes of content. And before we even started, we talked for a good 10-15 minutes. So at this point, we're way over time. And like I said before, he's fine. He's on the West Coast. So I assume he blocked out some time for that. I've got a deadline because we're trying to go out trick-or-treating. Sun's setting, kids are getting ready, my wife's getting ready, and I'm still here filming. So I'm not trying to rush the guy, of course. Like, he's doing me a solid by doing this collaboration. So I can't be like, hey, we got to wrap it up, man. Like, I got a schedule. So there's a lot going on in my head as I'm trying to also react, because we filmed my video first. So I was the one reacting in the second part of filming, which is when we were coming up against the deadline. So I'm trying to be entertaining, trying to engage, trying to have some good hot takes or reactions to these hot takes about mental health. And meanwhile, I'm looking at the clock like, oh, time's ticking, like we got to get out. Like, I already hear kids out in the street yelling and playing and having fun. There was a lot going on when we were filming this. I don't know if it comes through in the video. I hope it doesn't. But again, this is just like real life. As somebody who makes these videos, that like, it doesn't always work out perfectly, especially when you have to carve out time for that and it's not your full-time job. So what I thought was really cool was Dr. Kirk said that like, that is pretty much his livelihood now, is like making content for YouTube and other platforms, which I think is really cool. And I aspire to that. He did ask me later on whether, if I had the choice, I would make it like my full-time gig. So I thought about that for a little bit, and I ended up saying that I don't think I would make it my exclusive full-time thing. What I mean by that is like, I wouldn't mind if it provided more income to the point where I could scale back my private practice or the hours I work doing counseling, but I would never want to give that up completely. First of all, like, there was already a huge time and financial investment into that. I wouldn't want to just throw it by the wayside. But I also think that a lot of my credibility, depending what you all think about my credibility here on YouTube, comes from the fact that I'm a licensed clinician practicing actively, and I lose a lot of that if I go full-time into just doing YouTube. I think I would still retain a lot of the knowledge. Of course, I can still take classes and continuing education, but it's not the same as being on the ground, working with clients who are struggling through this kind of stuff on a daily basis. So my final answer was, no, I wouldn't do it exclusively. I think it would be a really cool opportunity if it was afforded to me to be able to have more of a balance between creating more content and scaling back the practice, but I would never give that up entirely. But, you know, one thing that really stood out about Dr. Kirk was that he was very kind about things, very gracious with his time, obviously, that we budgeted an hour and he went overtime to make sure that we did a good job with our videos, and he was very thorough in his responses. I could tell he wasn't just mailing it in, he was really putting some thought into it, and he wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'll do an appearance for you so that your channel can get a bump. Like, we were really engaging, and I appreciate that about him. That on top of being willing to spend the time emailing back and forth to really set up the details of what we were gonna do. He was very open to ideas, very flexible about things. And so I do appreciate that about him. He said he's open to collabing with other therapy and mental health space content creators. He wants to create some kind of community where we can be supporting each other, giving each other feedback and ideas. So I think that's a great idea. If we can come up with something like that, comment below what you think that would look like, and maybe what other YouTubers I might reach out to for collabs in the future. But yeah, so the man is obviously intelligent, and when you pair that with his kindness and his graciousness with a lot of this, it was a great experience collabing with him. And it's just some things I need to clean up with my workflow to make that a more seamless kind of experience so that I can enjoy it more instead of stressing about this camera or that light and all of that stuff in the future. But that's something that I'm figuring out, and is not on him as a collaborator. So that's kind of the behind the scenes look of our experience filming together, reaching out to him, and getting this whole video together. So Dr. Kirk, thank you so much for being willing to collab with me. It was a great experience. I would definitely do it again. For you all, definitely continue suggesting. A lot of my best videos, a lot of my favorite videos have come out of comments that you all have made. So again, if you are a member, I'm more likely to see your comments. They're less likely to be lost in the mix. But I try to acknowledge at least all of the comments that I get. So please continue giving that feedback, engage, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.